Lala is reminiscing over her past. We see a series of scenes showing her being a very mischievous girl in her youth who has great plans for herself. She wants to draw comics and also fall in love. She eventually does fall in love, but it's with her cousin, Sven, and also explores romance with several other people in her youth. She recalls thinking how her friend Hart is such a cute person and eventually develops a relationship with him. But at the end of her youth, she chooses to run away and explore places with her first love, Sven. In the present, Lala is now a grown woman, walking on staircases, wearing a wedding gown. She seems to be heading to her own wedding, about to say I do, and build a family of her own. She walks through a door and on the aisle with people watching her march, but it's not exactly the place we are expecting it to be. She turns out to be in a courtroom with a disheveled look, standing before the judge. The judge orders everyone to be seated, and they all watch as Lal struggles to sit while fixing her gown. He calls her name and asks her to explain what happened. Lala narrates what just happened on her wedding day. In the actual venue of her garden wedding with her old friend Hart, the officiant asks Lal the big question to which she needs to say, I do. She lovingly looks at Hart, who is happily smiling at her. She is just about to answer when suddenly, a baby starts crying, distracting everybody. Then, as she is about to finally speak up, a man riding a motorcycle gate crashes the wedding. It turns out to be Sven. Lala is at a loss for words, but Hart, being Sven's best friend, greets him happily, although Sven does not look happy at all. He wants Lala to listen to what he has to say. In her head, an animated Lala is wrapping her wedding veil around Sven to shut him up. Sven starts confessing, saying although their relationship has always failed in the past, they are still meant to be. He also mentions how he finally had that realization just last month, when they shared a passionate night together. Everyone is shocked upon hearing this, especially Hart. Sven tells him that he and Lala met on a beach in Los Angeles one day by chance. Hart confronts Lala as he thought she was there in LA, swamped with meetings for their company. Lola tries to reason but is out of excuse. Hart is disappointed, wishing there was a hidden camera somewhere around, and will soon reveal that this is all just a prank. Sven suddenly kneels and proposes his love for Lala and asks her to marry him. Back in the courtroom, the judge is intrigued about what she ended up deciding. She decides to go with her gut and runs to the bridal car. An animated scene of Lal driving the vehicle carelessly is shown. She drives it fast, as if she is on a great escape. Then, a police officer spots her overspeeding and chases her, until she suddenly stops the car, causing the police in pursuit of her to bump into her car and get flown onto the hood. The officer is sitting right beside Lala in the courtroom, wearing neck braces from the injury he sustained. The judge could not believe that she committed such traffic offenses, just because she could not decide on which man to pick, and found her guilty. Lala pleads with the judge, saying this week, she will be presenting a concept to an American client, and if they like it, they will buy their company, securing the jobs of every employee. She also tells him that she needs to urgently design one last character for the concept. After all these explanations, the judge does not care. He sentences her to 40 hours of community service starting the next day. Lala runs to Hart after the sentencing. He is crying his heart out after not being chosen by the woman who was just about to marry her hours ago. Sven is also there and keeps trying to talk to Hart, telling him it's better this way, as Lal will just keep thinking about him even after they are married. Hart faces him and says that he has no idea about the life that Lala and him have been building throughout the years, while he is busy jumping from one beach to another. Lala tries to run after Hart, but he is not interested in talking anymore after the pain he is going through. Lala faces Sven and reminds him that she needs something else in her life, and not a man who lives his life doing casual jobs in random beach bars. Sven argues that it is a good life, having no compulsion and no pressure. Lala reiterates she doesn't want that. She wants a family and children. She recalls this one time she and Sven did a pregnancy test, and it turned out negative. Sven was pleased after finding the result, but Lola was disappointed. She emphasizes how good of a father Hart is, even after divorcing his ex-wife, and compares him to Sven, who just let his son grow up without any help coming from him. Then she walks out, gets a cab, and cries at her and Sven's memories. That night, she tries her best to sleep, to no avail. She goes to her studio instead to work on the final character for her presentation. Suddenly, Hart shows up, causing her to be startled, and accidentally hits Hart with the chair as she turns around. Hart expresses that he thinks he knows why she fell for Sven again. He thinks the stress has been too much for her. They have 80 employees on their payroll, worrying about their company, then the big wedding preparations, and trying to get pregnant. Hart proposes that they do a small wedding in Tuscany instead. His love for her looks past what he has just been through. He kneels on the ground, proposing marriage to her again, asking her to go with him to Tuscany. She agrees to do that after her community service and the proposal to the American clients. The next day, Lal walks into the school, where she will be doing the community service. She looks for the principal, who does not seem to be a principal at all. He finds Dana, who is doing her community service as well, and lets her guide Lala to it. They witness Dana shoving a student's head into the toilet after spreading sensitive photos of her classmate. Dana comments that she is not dressed properly for the job, and Lala chuckles, saying she does not know her way around tools. So, she hands her a plunger to take care of the clogged toilets while she fixes the sinks. Lala does not really plan on staying there for too long so she can finish her design, so she tries to make a deal with Dana, offering her 300 euros to get her job done on her behalf. However, Dana does not take it, even commenting that a little dirty work might really be good for Lala. Without any choice, she proceeds to clean up the bathroom until Dana steals her bag. She runs after the thief but loses her after evading obstacles along the way. She calls her system administrator, Shah Rukh, and asks him to track her tablet. However, he says he already clocked out for the day and will do it tomorrow instead. She tells him he is supposed to be on standby 24/7. However, he argues that his contract states he only works 8 hours a day, then negotiates a pay raise of 500 rupees, which Lala approves out of desperation. He gets calls from Sven, which she keeps declining, but immediately picks up after seeing Shah Rukh is calling her. He gives her instructions on where to go and ends up being in a club. Lala finds Dana drinking by herself and angrily calls her attention. She gives her her bag, but the contents are no longer there. Lala asks where her tablet is, but Dana just says it's no longer to be found. This angers Lala, and she starts waving her finger at her, but Dana just grabs it and almost breaks it. It's funny to Lala how Dana refused to take her offer of 300 euros earlier, but chose to steal her belongings. She emphasizes that there is a life-changing presentation on that tablet, but Dana just brushes her off. She even comments that business people like Lala always cause stress, think only about their career and making money, and in the evening, return to their gentrified loft all alone to drink and toast to their sad life. Lala clarifies that she doesn't have a gentrified loft and that her life isn't sad. Dana points out the wrinkles on her face as proof of her sad life, even commenting that maybe it's the menopause. Lala gets annoyed even more, saying she is not menopausal yet, but Dana just sassily says that her biological clock is already ticking away. This hits hard for Lala as she really wants to have kids. She tries to come up with insults to throw at Dana but takes a while to throw one, earning a laugh from her instead. Dana leaves her to order some more drinks, and she receives a call from Hart, updating her about getting a priest in Tuscany for their second attempt at a wedding. She hears the background noise. He misunderstands her, thinking she is out partying with Sven. He expresses that he loves her and really wants to marry her, but he also has his pride to keep. He gives her an ultimatum that after their presentation, if she doesn't fly with him to Italy, then it's over for them. Meanwhile, Dana is at the bar just getting her drink and mixes something into it before taking a sip. Lala approaches her, warning that she will call the police on her. This alarms Dana a bit and offers they have a drink first, then they can talk about the tablet. She hands her drink to Lala and orders another one for herself. Lala needs a drink after all that is happening to her, so she drinks up the cocktail, all in one go. This worries Dana, realizing that the drink she gave her was spiked. Lala starts feeling the effect of the drink and whatever Dana puts into it that she dances without a care in the middle of the dance floor. The next morning, she wakes up to an officer arresting her for car theft. Dana comes to the rescue, offering to pleasure the officer using her mouth, as long as she lets Lala go. The officer takes his pants down, and Lolly sees that her boxers have Miracle Bunny printed on them. She immediately reveals that she is the one who designed the character, in hopes of him freeing them, but to no avail. Instead of pleasuring the guy, Dana grabs his crotch in a very painful way, causing him to fall down. Then they start their escape. Hart is just walking outside of his office and sees Sven, who tells him she isn't picking up his calls. Hart tries to call her, but also doesn't get an answer. Meanwhile, Hart calls Shah Rukh to track down Lala's phone. However, just like he did to Lala, she milks Hart for more money to do the job. In the middle of the forest, Lala blames Dana for their very chaotic situation. Dana tells her to be quiet, or else she will be a snack for wild animals. She hears a loud roar from afar and gets instantly scared. Lala asks if she has a phone, but its battery is depleted. They keep walking and eventually end up getting out of the forest. Hart is able to track Lala's phone and decides to go to her. He walks to his teeny-tiny, environmental-friendly car, and Sven is disappointed seeing it. They end up using Sven's motorbike instead, as it would get them to the location faster. The two ladies walk into a property, trying to find a phone. Lala keeps demanding that Dana take her back to Berlin to find her tablet, emphasizing that the files there are very important for her and her fiancé as their hard work is all stored there. She confesses that without their presentation, their company would not have been bought by the American investors. Dana comments that she is selling her soul to a major corporation. Lala explains that it's not her life goal either. She wanted to be a comic book artist. Hearing this, Dana comments that she will be glad that she took her tablet away, and it turns out she also sold it. Lala asks who she sold it to, but Dana is not giving her answers. She challenges Dana to a staring contest, and they get on it. She tries tricking Dana and snaps her finger, but she doesn't blink at all and even spits on her. They hear a phone ringing nearby and find it. They find it in a secret room, but Lala does not remember their landline number. Dana finds out that the place is a den where illegal substances are being manufactured. They find an unconscious man on the floor and hear footsteps approaching. They scramble to get into the closet to hide. 3 men walk in and pick up the unconscious guy, planning to end his suffering. Unfortunately, Lala makes a noise and the men hear this. They find her and Dana hiding in the closet. They escape through a tunnel behind the closet and manage to come out of the building, but then men follow and throw grenades at them. Just before the last grenade explodes, Lala throws it back at the men, giving them more time to escape to the lake. Dana cannot swim, so Lola helps her out before she sinks to the bottom. Back to the 2 men, they hear Lala's phone ringing and follow the sound. They finally find it, inside a bear that's resting beside a tree. They immediately guess that Lal lost her phone and the bear ate it. The bear notices the 2 of them and they scramble to run for their lives. Lala wakes up. She finds Dana hanging both of their wet clothes to dry. They take a short nap, but when they wake up, they find that all their clothes are gone. Lala's frustration just keeps building up. They start talking, and Dana talks about her life with the guy she once loved, named AK. He proposed to her, and they even planned on having children, but unfortunately, AK got into an accident leaving him paralyzed from the neck down. He can't take it and she can't stand it either, so she resorts to psychedelics as it makes it feel better for her. Lala comments that she understands, but Dana argues she doesn't understand anything, considering how she cannot choose which man to love. Dana walks away, and Lala catches up to her. They find a group of people, mostly dancing as if they are doing a ritual. One man there, Harold, recognizes Lala. A flashback of moments when Harold kept aggravating Lala is flashed. Harold expresses that he is a changed person now after finding the community he is with, the community, splashing color powders at each other. Harold introduces them to their spiritual healer. She invites them to a healing ceremony, which turns out to be a coitus ceremony. Every person there is trying to feel their partners up. What a mess. Lala tries to go with the flow and spots their clothes, so they slowly inch closer to it and run away. The people of the tribe run after them, but Dana throws a torch into the teepees, causing a huge fire. Harold is devastated at what is happening to his beloved tribe. Sven and Hart are in the middle of nowhere, drying their clothes after just escaping the bear, when they spot Lala and Dana running. They immediately try to catch up to her, leaving their clothes behind. Lala and Dana find an abandoned building they can rest in. Lala expresses that she wants to help Dana get to Berlin to go back to AK. Hearing this, Dana comments that she would not want to help her, confessing she spiked her drink last night, causing her to have hallucinations and end up in the mess they are in. Lala flares up in anger at Dana for destroying her life. The 2 men finally find her, surprising Lala as they both show up nude. They ask her to make her decision, and she knows they deserve it. Hart promises that after they sell their studio, they can go traveling around the world and start their family. Sven competes with him, saying he wants to settle down, even promising they can adopt children and be a family. This surprises Lala, knowing that Sven is not a fan of having children. Lala almost chooses Sven, but one looks at Hart, and she is confused again, so she walks away. She gets into her clothes and screams out her frustration at everything that's happening. She passes by Dana, who is tearfully having a moment, thinking about AK, sharing that he said he wanted to end his life. She confesses that she gave in, not wanting to see him suffering anymore. She gave him a cocktail of pills she mixed, then waited until he closed his eyes. AK did not end up passing away but fell into a coma, and she is blaming herself for it, thinking he is suffering even more now. Lala consoles her, but Dana's self-blame is clouding her. Dana asks if they should go and see him, and Lola happily smiles softly, while saying she'd love to. Dana finally decides to help Lala get her tablet back. They ride a tractor in the middle of the town to go to the place where Dana sold it. She sold it to a dealer named Rose. However, she advises that Lala will need at least 10,000 euros for her to get back the tablet. Knowing that she will not be able to come up with that huge amount, she decides to break in. She starts moving, evading obstacles to get to her laptop. They finally get into Rose's office, but moments later, she catches them under the table. Lala seems to know a lot of people, as it turns out that she and Rose had some past. They seem to have been through many things together, and they even kissed when they were younger. Lala is shocked to know that Rose is now a dealer when she used to be an actress. Meanwhile, all of the people who Lala encountered earlier are harboring deep grudge towards Lala, from the policemen to the gangsters to Harold. They all end up in pursuit of Lala to take revenge. Back in Rose's office, she finally decides to give Lola her tablet back. Before going, Lola asks if they will ever meet again, so Rose writes her number on Lola's hand. Then they start pushing each other as if it's their way of saying, take care to each other, until Dana just tells them to hug it out. Lala and Dana go back to the club, and Lola keeps wanting to go to the dance floor and just enjoy herself, but Dana reminds her she needs to finish drawing. She obeys her, finishes her designs, and shows them to Dana. She reminds Lola not to get too enthusiastic about the presentation, but Lola tells her that she doesn't want this kind of pressure anymore. She wants to pursue her dream of drawing comic books, working less, living more, and having some freedom. Dana asks if this means she will leave Hart and choose Sven to live life freely. Lala says yes, but takes it back, saying she is still unsure. Dana advises that she should just forget the guys and be happy on her own first. Lala is worried that she's running out of time as she's already 38 and wants to have children. Dana expresses that she also only ever wanted to have kids with AK, but now, that dream is over for her. Lala asks if they should go visit him at the hospital, but Dana just says it's too late, then follows up saying it's already 2 a.m. so it's already late. They stay to dance some more until the morning. Lala is snoring in the car while Dana is watching her. She kisses the sleeping Lala on her forehead and tells her she loves her. Then she steps out of the car. Looks like Dana really had grown attached to Lala after all that happened. Before leaving, she says that she has to go be with AK forever. Hart and Sven are riding a bike, still trying to find Lala when they pass by and spot her in the car. She wakes up and sees the two of them, telling her this madness has to stop, and she has to decide. Lala steps out and tells them she knows, and that if she decides, she'll lose one of them. Then, she suddenly remembers Dana and recalls how she's always blaming herself, how much fun they have had, and how lonely Dana actually feels inside. She then realizes what Dana means when she says she's going to be with AK forever. She turns around and heads to the castle where AK proposed to Dana. Unbeknownst to her, all the angry people trying to catch Lala have found her and are now running after her as well. Lala sees a man talking on a phone and asks to borrow it, but the man is not listening, so she snatches it and then calls Rose. She asks for a favor from her, and upon hearing it's for Dana, Rose immediately shoots up. Then Lala sees her enemies and tries to hide with Sven and Hart. She talks to them, telling them she loves both, but says it's never going to work out between any of them. She also cries, realizing that she has lost both of them as friends too. She is waiting for them to tell her they are still her friends, but they don't. So Lala runs away. Her enemies spot her again and run after her. While trying to escape, Lala gets a call from Shah Rukh, and this time, he is telling her something important. The American clients are offering Lala 10 million euros for her company shares. Shah Rukh also tells her that they are in her house and want to meet her personally, and they will get on the next flight out if she doesn't show up soon. Lala is finding herself in a serious dilemma. She has to choose over the life she has been working so hard for, or her friend Dana, who is about to do something stupid to her life. She chooses Dana and runs to the palace. She finds Sven and Hart there, and they tell her that they are still friends. This makes Lala's heart very happy. They ask what they are doing there, and Lala points to Dana, who is standing on the edge of the roof ready to jump. However, Lala's enemies find her as well and try to catch her, but Sven and Hart stop them. Lala hurriedly goes to Dana and tries to talk to her, but Dana is still blaming herself for AK's passing. Dana says that if she jumps, she will never have to love again, thus never having to feel the pain she is feeling now. Lala tells her it's not too late to start a new life, and it's not going to be so hard if there is a friend who will be willing to help out. Lala tells her she is not talking about herself, but Dana. She asks Dana to help her sort out her life, and she agrees. Dana finally steps back from the edge onto safety, but Lala is now the one standing on the edge, and almost falls upon seeing that her enemies have caught up to her. Luckily, Dana helps her back to safety. Sven and Hart chase after Lala's enemies but get knocked out after just one hit. Then, Rose comes to the rescue. Dana and Lal both seem to be hallucinating as they watch Rose transform into Miracle Bunny and grow 10 times her size to defeat the enemies, and then they transform back into real people with Rose pointing weapons at them. The enemies scatter away in fear of Rose. Lala may have lost her chance at building her family soon, but now she has 4 friends who will always be by her side to support and protect her. The paramedics arrive, and they set up a rescue net to catch whoever jumps from the building. Lala thinks of a crazy idea, saying they should jump to a new life, and they all do. What a crazy way to end the film.